like to call the Menomonee Falls Public Library Board of Trustees monthly board meeting on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 to order. First we'll do roll call. Nicole Barker, President.
Tom Ewig, Secretary Treasurer.
Ann Lessela.
John Soper.
Scott Habegger.
Ellen Rohr.
Jacqueline Romer. And then Michael is on Zoom tonight.
Yeah, Michael is down here.
Hey, Michael. All right, we're
Happy to have you.
next up is the public comment period. However, since there's nobody here for comments, we will skip over that and go right to the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda will be approved in one motion unless any board member requests that an item be removed for individual discussion. That item can be considered at an appropriate time during the board's regular order of business or under new business. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the October 2025 regular board meeting and the bill approval for October 2025 in the total amount of $41,487.94?
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes from the October 2025 regular board meeting and the bill approval for October 2025 in the total amount of $41,487.94, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Next up is the committee reports. First is the policy review committee, which we did not meet this last month. I believe our next meeting will be in January, so no updates as of right now. And then we'll go on to the finance committee. I need a motion to remove from the table discussion and possible action on the first floor building updates projects.
Motion to remove from the table discussion possible action on the first floor building updates project.
Second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor of removing from the table the discussion and possible action on first floor building updates project, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Now I need a motion to approve the finance committee's recommendation to move forward with first floor building updates project in 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I've presented to each of you a briefing about the first floor renovation project. These are all things that we've talked about in committee, but it gives you the gist of the project in its entirety. So we're looking at this renovation project in November and December of next year. It would be the first floor vestibule, lobby, AV and open holds area, the circulation area, the reading nook by the stairs, the hallway for the community room, the boardroom, the staff areas including the entrances, the circulation area, and then also the technical services area. And then I also outlined what exactly would be taking place as part of this project. So walk-off carpeting in the lobby and at staff doors, we would be able to remove the trip hazards, and then also the cost of rug maintenance and rentals. We would be removing wallpaper and recover with paint. We'd be getting some new LED lighting, which is more energy efficient and also brighter. We'd be doing a slight renovation over by the copy fax area to make it a half wall so that the line of sight and awareness of that area is better, and also better for staff line of sight to be able to assist patrons as needed. The only new furnishings would be in the reading nook by the stairs and then also the boardroom, as well as a few pieces in the vestibule. We'd be installing a monitor in the boardroom for patrons to be able to use, and then monitors in the lobby in an attempt to go paperless with our flyers. We'd grow the book sale shelving to eliminate the first floor standing shelves. It would just look better for ADA compliance. We'd be installing a security door for the staff behind the circulation desk. We'd also be installing a window for staff behind the circulation desk in order to have better service so that staff can see patrons waiting at the desk while they're multitasking, unloading the bins, checking in books. We'd get some new countertops and cabinetry as well as the corresponding electrical needed for that in the staff work areas. A lot of them are falling apart. or they don't work with the current workflows. We'd also get new bins for the book drop area, the indoor book drop. That would be better for the staff's ergonomics, safety, hopefully less workers' compensation claims. And that, if you recall, is where we currently have the mud flaps so that the books don't fly off. This would be a whole lot better. We wouldn't be using Rubbermaid bins. They'd be custom fit for the space. So the total project cost is estimated at $810,000, and that includes the contingency fund if anything should go wrong, if the contractors find something, if when they rip up the flooring there's an issue. That's a contingency fund of $72,000. The great news is, breaking news on Monday night, the village board has committed $200,000 for this project from Fund 605. That's the tipping fees from waste management. That goes towards carpeting and paint. The total required from the village, based on our initial estimates that we received, is $235,000. But the village manager says that they want to take care of that as the bidding process would come in. That leaves our portion, so everything other than carpeting and paint and all of those corresponding expenses, at $575,542, including that contingency fund. Let's say nothing goes wrong, everything goes according to plan. Our portion would only be $503,542. So in 2026, we're anticipating our fund balance, undesignated funds, to be at least $665,000. So we have the 3 months operating put away, we have our retirement payouts put away. That's what's left over. And it could be larger depending on how much we have left over this year. As well as we have almost $31,000 in our special reserve funds that are undesignated. So how are we going to pay for this? The Finance Committee and the Special Projects Fundraising and Outreach Committee is suggesting that both the library board and the Friends have a capital campaign for businesses and also families and individuals in order to contribute as many funds as possible between January and November of 2026. And then whatever's not raised would be funded through the fund balances. The reason why we're looking outside for additional monies is because we have part of our updates of the library. The final piece in the next few years is going to be the second floor. And if I had to estimate, that would be between $2 and $3 million. So we've got some bigger projects on the horizon. So having as much in our fund balance as possible to go towards that project would be great. So we're hoping that the community, the businesses come forward, and even individuals come forward. And included in your packet was the draft proposal for the capital campaign for businesses with the various sponsorship opportunities, as well as the Friends partnering with us and running that campaign that's more geared towards individuals, families, with more unique incentives for them, such as an after-hours party at the library. So really we're looking at having a good first impression right when you walk in the library. We want that good curb appeal. We want security for staff and the patrons. We want to be as energy efficient as possible so we can save some dollars down the line, get some new technological advancements. A lot has changed in 23 years. And also things are just worn out. So the wall coverings are peeling up, the wallpaper's peeling up, the carpeting is not great, it's seen better days, and the furnishings are also reaching their lifespan. So this will be the final update to the first floor, and then we have to jump back upstairs and finish the adult portion of the second floor, and then the entire building will be updated, other than mechanicals, but we'll get there.
So this did go to the Finance Committee. We did a lot of due diligence, and we asked a lot of questions of Jackie and talked through, and my specific questions had a lot to do with, utilization of the fund balance and why we're utilizing the fund balance and what that means. And, you know, I think it would be beneficial, Jackie, for you to just expound on how you explain that to me, because I think it makes a ton of sense why we're doing what we're doing with the purpose of those funds. So I think it's important if you wouldn't mind just reiterating how that fits into our overall mission for the library, because you did a really nice job in the finance committee. I think it warrants a second mention, and why we're allocating the undesignated fund balance and on. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So when we look at the previous renovations and updates to the library in the past few years, the teen space, the maker space, local history room, that was all done through the fund balance. So that was all monies that we had left over in our fund balance. Same thing, we pulled money from the fund balance for the children's library refresh as well. That fund balance is there so that we can make these updates to the building, because we need to have monies put away somewhere in order to be able to make these updates. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. It's also an emergency contingency fund, but like I said, that money is already designated, so we have these undesignated monies, and that is what the village would like to see happen with that fund, because we need to be able to maintain the building. If you recall, in the past 2 years or so, we've had lots of discussions about we can't spend from the fund balance. We're scared to spend from the fund balance because what happens if the elevator would die or the boiler would go out? Well, since then, we've had some really good conversations with village administration, and we've even had the village manager come to a board meeting and talk about how if something like that were to happen, there would not be an expectation that we would have to pay for that out of pocket from the fund balance. So therefore, we feel a lot more confident. I personally feel a lot more confident being able to say, yes, we are able to make these updates with fund balance monies as money allows, as long as we do it in a really strategic and also fiscally responsible way, so that we're always looking forward. So sure, we could pay from the fund balance now, but that's not going to do us well or serve us well when we're looking at the second floor project. So to be able to get as many community contributions as possible to this project, it's going to make a big difference. And it's also a great opportunity for the community, especially corporations and businesses, to get their name out. We have plenty of opportunities for collaboration, naming rights. This is a community hub. We see so many visitors a day that it just makes sense to try to partner with our community in order to get some of these projects done.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you, Tom.
No, I mean, seriously though, and that's why I didn't even want to try and explain it, because you know this stuff back and forth. So you said it perfectly. I don't have anything to add, but does anybody that was not at the meeting, at our finance committee meeting, have any questions you'd like to know about?
I guess
You were there. Well, I wasn't there, so yeah. That's
Well,
right.
to me,
my
bottom
question
line
would
is it's,
be
I got a question.
to those who would say, well, you're cutting all this stuff from the library, from the budget and everything, why would you go and make these changes now? What would you say?
Definitely, and I think that's a really good question, and I think it's a question that makes sense, right? Like that it makes logical sense to ask that. So we're talking about different pots of money. So our fund balance, we do not want to touch that for operations. We can't rely on the fund balance for operational things. So yes, we've had to make cuts to our services and operations because of the budget reduction, but this is a separate pot of money that is set aside specifically for one-off or special projects that we can't use when we're talking about funding staffing or hours or programming. It's really not meant for that. It's meant for building updates. And also this is part of an ongoing project that we've been doing since 2020 of updating the space. So it's been in the works this entire time. It's almost, I view it as a completely separate project from anything budgetary related, because this isn't a general operating expense, this is capital. So it's two different things.
Great explanation.
Yeah.
So this this makes sense to the finance committee, so I'm going with that. But my question is what's feeding it? What's feeding the revenue that's going into the fund balance?
So the revenue that goes into the fund balance is any leftover funds we have at the end of the year, as well as interest on our fund balance.
Okay. And how many years have when was the last time we had a budget where we put money into that?
Last year we did.
We put some money into that from the operating budget into the fund balance.
2020, no, you're right, it was 2023 because we were able to come up short on the children's project last year than anticipated. So we took out less money on from the fund balance last year on the children's project because we had leftover funds at the end of the year from operating. That's what it was. Thank you, Ellen. But the year before, we had ended up putting more money into the fund balance at the end of the year because the village's estimate for interest was way low compared to what we actually received.
So if we take out more money from the fund balance, would that mean less interest then?
Yes. So that's another incentive as to why it would be great if we were able to get community sponsorship for this, because we'd be losing out on additional interest growing that we could put towards future projects.
That was going to be my next piece, is that goes directly to the second piece to all this, and that is what they're doing in the special events and outreach and the Friends in the Capital, the capital campaign will then go to refill the coffers in order to boost that interest back up so we can start generating higher interest and compounding and start working towards that next project. Mm-hmm. So that's the second piece to that all, is the ability to have the community support as well. And whether it goes to the expenses or it just goes to refilling, that's.
So I guess my comment on this is seeing what the current balance is of that fund balance, which means that's how much how much extra operations funds we received to run the library, and it was put into savings. I'm now not, I understand now more the village request on looking at how we can adjust our budget. It makes more sense to me now, and I'm glad that we were able to find a way to do it responsibly, because if we had gotten to that amount, they were giving us more money than we needed at this point, and I think now we're seeing a nice balance out. That's the only thing. I didn't understand all of the
so it's not
logistics behind it.
necessarily more money than is needed.
A lot of that is interest.
Correct.
Like last year wasn't it like
A significant amount of it is interest.
On what?
On our money already. So
On the fund balance.
Correct. So in our
Right.
budget, we're given, well,
Yeah.
so the point is, we're given, in the budget, we're given a set number of interest that we're gonna use, and they look at excesses, so they tell us, hey, you know, because they'll project out. So, hey, you're gonna get $50,000 of interest, that's in our budget for what we're gonna use. Well, if we get $100,000 of interest, now the village didn't give us any more, but we have excess funds over the top of our budget because it wasn't a line item in the projection.
Right.
So that's how we
And that's
get
because
there.
we're at this level.
Exactly. That's how we get to that
Right.
level is, and then all of a sudden the compounding piece to it.
So diving into it, that's where I think, okay, so that is sort of something we want to still protect and kind of make sure. I like the idea, and I'm 100% behind this capital campaign, because any private donated funds to help do this will help us keep that and maintain the interest revenue that's really helped
Yeah.
us with our budget.
And I want to say, our budgets have been pretty spot on. So
Yeah, they've
the
been
reason that we have leftover monies at the end of the year are typically personnel related. So we'll have a significant gap in the time when we have an employee leave, an employee begin. That can add up really quickly. Insurance changes. So if someone goes from family to single insurance, that's at least $13,000. So it's really the personnel costs that are left over at the end of the year, or the ones that go over. Because if you have a life-changing event and we have to go from single to family, well, that's also cutting into our expenses. So
But then we've used that to help cover the cost recently, like with the child's area. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. I understand. I think that's great. Okay, makes good sense to me. I like what you guys have all put together. Sorry I wasn't there.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk, no, it's good, I mean, it's good to hear this and for all of us to understand it, but, that's why, like, when I first got on the board, there was a lot of discussion on the village board as to, well, you guys have money sitting in there, why aren't you using it for, projects and renovations? Well, as Jackie stated, it was, for fear if something major went wrong, and there really wasn't that reassurance at the time that the village would cover those major things. Now we have that. So now we can use this. But okay, my thought through all of this is, why not try to get community involvement though, especially if we have that whole second floor. We got major projects that need to be done.
Especially, yeah.
So if we can get some donations,
Which would be the fiscally responsible thing for us to try and do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agree. That's
so
great.
I'm hoping Scott's gonna bring in a lot of money.
All right. There you go.
You know what, every little bit helps.
I don't want to get too much into that because we
Yeah,
are
well,
going to
yeah,
be
we'll get
discussing
there.
that
Yeah, oh, yeah,
part
yeah.
shortly.
Okay.
But I do
Good
want to,
question.
I had a question that just left me, so never mind.
All right.
I was gonna say, do we wanna put it to the vote? Or did you
Oh,
wanna? We already-
what is the timeline for, as far as like, if we vote on it and we say, yes, we want to do this, when, are you gonna have to start making like down payments on things and, getting this all started?
So the bidding process will likely begin maybe next spring. At least that's when we'll start really getting into talks with the village in terms of bidding. Like I said, we have the estimates right now from the contractors. Things can certainly change. So I would say next spring we'll likely start, and then we'll have some bids and go through the awarding of the bids process. And then we would work on the actual construction November to December of next year.
Who reviews, is that a village thing? They do the review and then tell us who they like, or is that something that we are engaged in, or
It's
is
a-
that solely a director?
No, it's not just me. So it's a it's a collaborative process. There's certain things that are statutory mandated where you would go with the lowest bid on X, Y, and Z. But when it comes to certain aspects of the project and working with different contractors, we definitely are going to defer to the village's expertise on the legal regulations regarding bidding. But then a lot of it should come at least to the finance committee, at least for a review.
Okay.
Okay. Any other?
I believe for the second, can you hear me okay? The second, or when we did the second floor, the board approved the plan before it went to bid, and then, after the bid was, then the village came over and recommended whatever they recommended, and the board voted on.
So they kind of present to the finance committee, or, is that, or is it to a board that they present, or is it more of an informal meeting where they present?
I think it was just the assistant village manager that did the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we didn't have a finance committee then, so it might be a little different this time around. Stay tuned.
I was gonna say, I usually just rely on Jackie, she knows exactly where to put it, so. All right, any other questions, discussion, or should we just go ahead and vote? All right, I say let's vote. All right, all in favor of approving the finance committee's recommendation to move forward with the first floor building updates project in 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. All right, now we have the Special Events Outreach and Fundraising Committee. Can I get a motion to approve the Special Projects Fundraising and Outreach Committee's recommendation to approve the capital campaign and supporting documentation for the first floor building updates project?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second, and discussion. I think that goes to you, Scott.
Yeah. So, we wanted, I was waiting for somebody to say, yes, I have a question.
That turned into that Spider-Man picture of everybody getting a shoulder.
Yeah, so we talked that we wanted some type of document or information that when we meet with the company, we have some talking points, and that is the document that was in your packet. Jackie did a great job of pulling this together, and the way it's kind of set up, the first page, the who we are, we wanted some key numbers there that show the positive trends here in the library, and a little bit about who we are. And of course, when we meet with a business, we give a lot more detail, but this is a nice touch of some key points. And then we talk a little bit in the introduction, some of the key things we're trying to do here, create a more welcoming and accessible environment, strengthen the safety and security, and integrate modern technology and energy efficiency. So those are a few key things that are going to happen from a high level. And then we have some pictures there to show, hey, here's some of the new things that have happened. Because if you go to the next page, we did want to show this momentum. So building our momentum, it shows we've already completed a lot on the first floor that we talked about. The second floor, a lot of good things. If you look and really study this, you say, boy, the library has done a lot of changes in the last few years, all very positive. So we want to present this as a momentum building. Then we just show a layout so they can clearly see we have these different areas. And remember when we talked about how the school had areas that you could sponsor. You could sponsor the gym, the field, whatever. So we said, oh, maybe we can kind of set that up. So this is a nice visual of that. Then if you go to the next page, then we start talking about what are those opportunities. So we start in these packages, there's really three opportunities. The first one, hey, we'll put money toward the overall project. And we did different tiers here of 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000 plus. And what a company would get in return for that. So, and I should say on this, one thing we talked about, this is flexible, right? So any company we work with might have different things they want to do, and we can be flexible with that. But at least we have a starting point.
Scott, can I clarify something really quick there?
Yeah.
Could this be a family if they wanted to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Could it be?
Yeah.
And just because you were saying company, I just wanted to make sure it could be it could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
Got it. Okay.
But I would say what we have on the other page is smaller amounts is something that would be handled by friends. So if it's an individual, hey, I want to give $100, that can be through the Friends organization. We're going to focus first on the bigger companies. But yes, if an individual came forward and said, hey, I'd like to give 10,000, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and you could be the Ewig family, right in the front, right where you walk in there.
Ooh, right past the Leslie.
Yeah. They're reading nothing about.
So that's one option. I'm just giving money for fun. The second option is similar, a higher level 25 plus. If someone says, hey, I want to be in the vestibule. I want my name in that area, or I want to pick a certain area and give toward that, which kind of ties into the next one. That was, okay, the big one, if someone wants to sponsor the whole area. So someone says, we'll do the conference room, or the boardroom, or we'll do the print area, or the nook, or whatever that is, they could have that area, and that's what they would have. So this gives, though, you know, what would be involved with that, and what happens. So this is what we put together. We're gonna start putting a list of the companies to approach. Looking for the board support, if there are contacts that you have, right, it's a lot of relationship kind of thing. We have contacts, we go back. We've looked at the companies that have given in the past, and we can approach them, and go from it. So we have not approached anyone yet because we wanted approval from the board for the funding for the first place before we start talking to people. So that's the approach we're looking at. Ideally, we think we would have, you know, Ann, Jackie, and I would approach a company, or two of us would go. Jackie would kind of be the lead of the expertise of it, and that's the approach we would take.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you want me to hold the Friends part for that page we have, or talk about it now?
Is it part of the,
You could probably talk about it now, Scott.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if it intertwines with this, then go ahead.
It is
Yeah.
intertwined. It's in the packet here, right?
Yes, this one?
Yeah, that one. Let's get
Yeah.
to it.
Do you need one? Did you not get one?
Oh, yeah, it's in the very back.
Okay.
So there's our big corporate kind of look, or with an individual. And then for the individuals who want to participate in some way, this is kind of a flyer that, for the library friends. And you can see here, in this case, we show examples, you know, $100 could go towards securing the door for the staff, $250 for a shelf, $500 for a lockbox. So they can kind of say, if I give this amount, this is what, if they want to feel like I own something, I did this, that's what it'd be. So this campaign from the Friends, we said really needs to integrate with what we're doing. And we're probably going to come up with some communication high level that combines these and says, hey, there's all these different ways you can give. The Friends would probably start doing this in April-ish timeframe, is what we talked about in the last Friends meeting. What would be the approach? We'll kind of get this going, and then this would be part of their plan.
So they're gonna be more trying to get the community donors, where we're gonna be trying to bring in more of the capital.
Yes.
The businesses.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is kind of how we envisioned that working.
Mhm.
All right. Any other
Out
questions?
of curiosity, why would they wait till April? Like, why not just get started on it beginning of the year?
They're just not quite ready. I mean, unless you have another.
You might have
I
a little
thought we talked about
exhaustion, too.
starting it out in
Maybe do
January.
it too long.
I wonder if April was maybe more of the library park party.
Well, let me see here. Well, I have in my notes, April mailer for the capital campaign.
Oh, yes, we'll be putting that in the book sale mailer for the books, for the Friends Firstie's book sale pass. But I think we will at least like soft launch it before then.
Okay.
But just making sure that every Friends member gets that physically in the mail. But
I misunderstood that.
Right. It's an exciting undertaking. It really is. This is wonderful. Thank you, Scott and Ann and Jackie, for taking the time to put all this together. I think it's going to
Very
be
well
super
done.
worthwhile, so,
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, very.
I'm very excited to help this along the way in any way I can, but just kind of see where this all goes. Because I think this could really be, a fantastic opportunity for people to show their support for the library and for us to get this done, this project done, and then move on to future projects as
Yeah.
well. So,
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, let's vote. All in favor of approving the special projects, fundraising, and outreach committee's recommendation to approve the capital campaign and supporting documentation for the first floor building updates project, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Is there any other updates that you had for the board, Scott, other than this stuff? Or is this?
No, that's what we've been working on.
Perfect. All right, so next we have new business. First, we are going to be viewing the Falls Cable Access's new promotional video for the Menomonee Falls Public Library.
So Chris Forson has been working really hard on this promotional video for us. Definitely a labor of love for him, I am sure, but this is going to allow us to really get out there on social media, on the internet. We could have it playing in the lobby, maybe on our new screens eventually, but also work on even possibly taking this and putting it into sections and talking about the different things that the library offers. So I am going to put it up on the big screen for you guys, and we will watch this. Check out everything we have to offer here at Menomonee Falls Public Library. Menomonee Falls Public Library has been providing everything our residents need to explore, learn, grow, and connect since 1906. For over 120 years, we have been the place that our community members go to for educational and recreational books, movies, programs, and more. Open to the public, we serve people of all ages at the library. There's truly something for everyone. Our beautiful building on the village campus has over 52,000 square feet for people to enjoy. It's filled with over 118,000 books and 20,000 other items, such as DVDs and Blu-rays, audiobooks, Tony boxes and Tonys, recorded books for kids, board games, passes to local museums and attractions, tools, and so much more. Did you know that you can check out radon detectors, a Nintendo Switch, an ice cream maker, and board games at your library? We have a library of things comprised of unique items that you can check out just like a book. Have you ever needed to access crafting equipment like a Cricut, embroidery machine, sewing machine, or button makers? Check out the Forge, the library's makerspace, on our second floor. This incredible space is open for you to use our crafting supplies, take a class to learn a new craft, or use our equipment. We even have a 3D printer for you to use. In 2020, we renovated the library to make a state-of-the-art space just for teens. The teen space has computers, gaming equipment, board games, whiteboards, and plenty of space to study or just read a book. Our colorful and fun children's library has thousands of books and other materials to delight your little ones. The possibilities are endless in our children's library. Spend some time in our tree, create a masterpiece in Forge Junior, enjoy our screen of patio, or check out 1012, our space dedicated to tweens ages 10 through 12. As part of Bridges Library System, we have delivery 5 days a week from all libraries in Waukesha and Jefferson County. Simply go online to our catalog and request whatever material you'd like. If Menomonee Falls Public Library doesn't have it, we can usually find it at one of our libraries in the system. You can even use your library card at any of the libraries in the Bridges system as well. Check out the Cafe Libraries app to request items or renew your books with ease. We also have a variety of important resources that you may need. We have computers for people of all ages, free public Wi-Fi, fax services, and the ability to send items to our printers from the comfort of your home. Your library truly has it all. Did you know that we offer over 600 free programs a year? From story times to book clubs for your tween, to teen hangout and murder mystery book clubs, we have something for everyone. Whether you need help learning how to use your new cell phone or you're looking to talk about a good book with other people, we have the program for you.
Your little ones should definitely sign up for the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten Challenge to see if they can read all those books before they start school. They even win prizes along the way. Your older kids can try out our newest reading challenge, 500 Books Before Middle School. The library's budget is largely made up of funding from local property taxes. We also receive reimbursement through Waukesha County when people who live in communities without a library use our services. When people who live in adjacent counties such as Washington and Ozaukee County use our library, and they live in a municipality that does not have a library of its own, we also receive reimbursement from those counties for the usage of our library. All of this is governed in Wisconsin state statutes. Additional revenue is brought in through overdue charges for materials and charges for services such as printing and copying. In addition, Waukesha County has something called the Waukesha County Library Services Plan, which sets forth minimum standards we must uphold based on the municipal population of Menomonee Falls. Some of these standards include things like the amount of hours we're open a week, the amount we must spend on materials each year, and the amount of staff we have. We monitor the budget incredibly closely in order to ensure we meet these standards while remaining fiscally responsible and providing excellent service. The library staff are made up of everyone from high school students to librarians with master's degrees in library and information science. We pride ourselves on working hard to provide great service to you and your family and strive to have something for everyone. Over 17,000 people have a library card at Menomonee Falls Public Library. Will you be next? Sign up for your library card at the library. All you need is a photo ID and proof of current address. Children under 18 need a parent or legal guardian with them to get a library card of their own. Check us out today.
That is fantastic. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Great job.
Thank you, Chris.
And that's gonna be a great tool when we go out to talk to companies and show them that video.
Great narrating.
Oh,
Can't skip a beat.
that might be editing. That might.
A little bit.
You edit out any ums?
I would be horrible at that.
So
Yes.
Very nice. Good
I,
job,
I
Chris.
did happen to notice one omission on there that I think should be added. And because it brings us revenue, and it wasn't part of the revenue section, why was the coffee shop not mentioned as a revenue source? And inviting people in to drink coffee, because 10% goes back to the library. That, I believe, needs to be if we're going to talk about revenue sources. Because that is direct revenue back to the library, and it should be a draw for people to come in. So I would like to see that added. I know it's after the fact, but I realize it was, it might have been an oversight, but I'd like to see that in there. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, why was it kept out? I mean, it's a beautiful space.
Really,
I
we
guess
just-
I don't know why we wouldn't have it.
Really, we just focused on like the core library services, so I guess we definitely can add that as another one if you'd like it added in.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're showing the teen space and you're showing, kids space, it's another space to remind people what they can come here for.
Mhm.
And again, emphasizing that it gives back to the library.
Sure.
It is a revenue.
Because again, that 10% comes back to us.
Mhm.
So the more we get that out there, the better off we're going to be in the long run.
Mhm.
And again, I was watching it, and there were a couple of places where, in my mind, I'm going, oh, and you can enjoy a cup of coffee, and 10% goes back to the library. It doesn't have to be this huge drawn up thing.
Right.
But again, that should be in there.
Okay, I can talk to Chris and see what we can
It
do.
is in some of the promotional info here.
Mhm.
The coffee shop is pictured.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think it would be probably a good support in that aspect since it's here. That was great. It's part of our momentum.
Honestly, it's a new space that we've added this last, over the last year.
It's like 7:15.
Yeah, even to say you can, come host your meetings in one of our, what
Yeah.
labs, co-lab, you know,
Good,
get
yeah.
your coffee for your meeting.
It doesn't say anything about like the boardroom or the community room or renting any of the rooms either.
Yeah, maybe we can add that in.
Let's just make this
There's a lot of
20-minute
services to
Yeah.
try to promote. How long do we want to make this video?
Well, I am curious, why do you need the part about the standards in there? Who is that going to?
The idea was for it to be informational about the services, but then also give people an understanding about how the library functions in terms of like, where do you get your funding from? You know, there's so many people who don't even understand that we're a government department. So really just to kind of give a baseline education into,
Yeah.
and this was filmed, the part about, this was filmed before they even started the Act 150
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Well, and that's not even my point. I'm just thinking, you know, if you are looking at who are we targeting with this video? What do we want from it? I think just stating, I do like it that you stated, you know, how it's paid predominantly by
Mhm.
taxes and about, you know, outside resources. I just feel like getting into the county standards and minimums, to me, I can't imagine many people. I'm just learning it. I'm
And
digging
I-
into this.
Well, and then if you're looking at that, then I guess, yeah, I probably would have, because the minimums that are set are a little bit contentious. And I would think just to avoid that sort of, so the thought doesn't go through somebody's head and just focus it, because it was a beautiful video. I really did enjoy it. I think
Yeah.
just to avoid
Me
any
too.
donor kind of thought.
Well,
I did like the part where you say, we watch our budget very,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
Well,
closely.
and that's, I think it's all about, again, to what Ann was saying, who's our target and what's our message?
Mhm.
You know, I think that gets not away from the message, but it's like a secondary piece. I think that doesn't necessarily need to be there, because you did talk about, you know, we get funding from the community.
Mhm.
You could say, you know, it could be as simple as, if you wanted to put something in about the standard, you know, that we have standard minimums, you can. But I think saying we're very responsible with our budget is a catch-all from
Mhm.
that standpoint. I
Okay.
don't know if you necessarily need the part with the standards in there. It just,
You could shrink
it gets a little more into the weeds than I think
Sure.
you're generally going to need for this kind of a video.
Okay, so what I'll,
It might help balance the time so we're not extending it too
I was
long.
gonna say,
'Cause
if
I
we wanna
like-
get into
you're
that,
right.
we should just do an
How long
informational
is it?
session.
We don't want it too long. And in all honesty, I thought it can't go much longer.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to False Cable Access about making some edits, removing the standards, adding the coffee shop, and then I'll bring it back to you guys once that's completed for approval, because I don't want
Yeah.
to put anything live unless you guys feel like it's,
It's really good, so
Good.
I hate to make you guys do any work, but I do think those are important factors.
okay.
And no, other than that, I thought the video was wonderful. I thought you guys did a very nice job.
Yes.
Like overall, you know, you know, I think where we're at right now is at that nitpicky stage. Like, all right, is this appropriate? Is it not appropriate to be in the video right now? And then, you know, that's basically right before you're gonna then make it live.
Mhm.
So I think, you know, it's a good place to be.
Okay.
That we're making minimal changes.
Right. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
to
I
False
think
Cable
that-
Access for this amazing commercial,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
are doing it pro bono.
Yeah.
So
That's
just
great.
really big thank you to False Cable
Very
Access.
nice.
Yeah, I think. the
They are
addition-
very awesome over at Falls Cable Access.
Thank you.
I don't think the additions will take a lot of time. We'll add a lot.
No, I think it'll be.
Note those
it-
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a quick but meaningful, yeah.
It
We'll
will
get there.
pay on,
I thought it was great, and all of the facts on the video were spot on.
Made me, and then those were adorable shots of the kids.
Oh,
That's very
that's
important.
Oh, yes.
Well done.
Great.
Yep, gotta
Those
catch
bumpers
them,
get-
gotta get the
I
kids.
love the tree reference, by the way, because that is, and with how you guys refreshed that over there.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
And
So-
so many people have no idea what they can all take out here.
Mhm.
Like, I talk to people all the time, and And, you know, especially I try to talk to like younger families that are financially strapped, and I'm like, you know, you can go get a pass for the day for the zoo. I mean, so
Yeah.
that gets people excited.
Yeah.
So it's good to get that out
Mhm.
there.
Some of those
Exactly.
cool resources, absolutely.
It is. It really does help, you know, especially like larger families that don't have much money, that they can take their whole entire family, you know, to the museum or the zoo or whatever, and they don't have to pay.
Yeah.
That's very, very helpful.
So should we move the table while they
We don't-
make-
we aren't
we don't
voting.
need to, we're not even voting? Okay,
No,
cool.
we're not
That's
voting.
even easier. Awesome!
That's why I didn't ask for a motion or anything. All right, next we have discuss and consider for approval the 2026 annual addendum to the Bridges Library System member library and cafe agreements. I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
To approve.
Second.
Right, so I got a motion and a second, and then discussion.
So you'll see in your packet the addendum to the Bridges Library System and then the cafe agreements. It essentially talks about our sources of revenue that we will be getting through Bridges Library System. So you can see the Waukesha County reimbursement, that's for the use by the non-library residents. Prairie Lake System, they have a special agreement with Bridges for any use of our library from Racine and Walworth County residents. And then an e-content grant that Bridges provides annually to help offset the costs of Libby and formerly Hoopla. And then you can see what is going to be paid for by the library as part of Bridges Library System. You have our database charges. We aren't having the movie license next year, so they do a bulk purchase. So that's why that's included in there. We're not participating in that. The Wisconsin Digital Library content, so that's Libby. So essentially they flip-flopped it this year where the fee to be part of the digital library throughout the state of Wisconsin through Libby, that's going to be paid for 100% by the system, but then we as the individual libraries will be paying for Overdrive Advantage content. So what that is that's additional copies for Bridges Library members of hot title items. So James Patterson, we have specific copies that we purchase that don't go to everybody in the state of Wisconsin, but that first priority goes to Bridges Library System patrons so that they can get those titles faster on Libby. And then the cafe charges, so charges for the online catalog and everything associated with being part of Bridges is there. I also have provided you with the addendum history, so you can see the differences in revenue and expenditures going back to 2021. But all in all, it's a pretty standard thing that we approve each year.
Okay, so the balance out overall, a wash as far as expenses year over year, or are we paying more now from the library or paying less
In terms of the e-content,
Yeah.
for this? So is it like we paid 10,000 last year and now they've made all these changes and basically it averages out to 10,000
yeah,
this
it's
year?
basic, we just
Pots?
flip-flop what we're paying
Or is it
for.
increasing now for us, or is it?
No, it's rather flat,
Kind of flat.
yeah.
That's the part I'd want to keep an eye on and know about if it's starting to grow. 'Cause I think that's a great adjustment to get titles on digital that are going to be high and
Yeah.
for our Bridges people to have
Mhm.
better access to it. It's great.
Yeah, it looks like it's a minimal increase. I was just doing some quick math. But year over year increase, it makes sense.
Pretty standard fluctuations, yeah.
Yeah, it's something like 3,000-4,000, I think, was the fluctuation in the amount between this year and last year, or next year, so.
Yeah, I don't have to put my name on it, so it's good to me, yeah. Go right ahead. No, I'm kidding. It's good.
Yeah, this year we had Hoopla too, so that's going away,
you're a
so
real
that
competitor.
might be good.
Sorry.
That works.
I'm gonna assume.
Did
Yeah, pretty
you,
simple.
did
We
you
got
get
it.
to be involved
in the committees that arranged this? Or
Yes.
did they do that and say, here you go?
No, so the directors meet annually, meet monthly,
Yeah.
and we discuss certain things like this, such as, oh, should we be paying for the Advantage or the, the standard? So a lot of those discussions are held amongst the directors, and consensus is formed before these changes occur, for the most part. Most things come in front of the directors, not everything.
All in favor of approving the 2026 annual addendum to the Bridges Library System member library and cafe agreements, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. Next we have the trustee education, chapter 11, planning for the library's future.
Not much that I have to say about this one. So this really involves the strategic plans that we have. Our current one goes through 2027. So in 2027, probably around April and May, we'll start working on that strategic planning process. The board will have to decide whether or not we want to hire a consulting firm to do it or do it in-house. Last time we did it in-house and it worked okay, but it's really entirely up to the library board which direction you'd like to go and how much you are willing to spend on that strategic planning process. So in 2027, we are going to be working on that. That typically gets approved in October for the following year. So in October of 2027, the board will be approving the 2028 to 2033 strategic plan.
We gotta get it done by 2027.
Before 2028. Yeah.
Yes.
October 2027.
That's typically what we do. We could go a little bit down to the wire, but October gives us some wiggle room.
No. No, we'll get it done. That's fine.
All right, next is the library board president's reports. So I just wanted to take a moment here to touch on some of the upcoming changes for 2026. As we're all aware, the Finance Committee has been working diligently with Jackie, our amazing library director, to come up with a plan not only for next year, but for long into the future. From a budget standpoint, most of the library is taxpayer funded, and we need to be cognizant of how the library is spending taxpayer dollars. The village board has the same concerns and budgetary constraints. And the village board this year was gracious enough to give us an extra few months' notice that it would not be able to appropriate the same amount as last year, and they would have to reduce $300,000 from what was appropriated for this year that we're currently in. Since we already knew what our budget number was going to have to be, Jackie immediately went into action and came up with a plan. She never hesitated, and the product that we have now is directly a result of Jackie's blood, sweat, and tears. Jackie thought outside the box and came to the committee meetings with solutions. In case the public is not aware, Jackie is tasked with handling the library's staffing. If Jackie wants a new position, the board has to approve it, along with the salary and job description. But Jackie knows her staff and the needs of her staff. I firmly believe that if Jackie thought the staff could not handle the cuts that had to be made, she would not have brought the solution to the board. Here are some of the changes that are going to be coming to the library in 2026, and a short explanation of the thoughts behind those decisions. First was the reduced library hours. Staying open until 9 p.m. was costing a lot of extra money, and the employees who worked this late felt unsafe at times. There's very little traffic in and out of the library between the hours of 8 and 9 p.m. Most of the other libraries in the area, with the exception of Brookfield, close at 8 p.m. or earlier. Closing just 1 hour earlier allowed us to cut a part-time position completely, and the employee in that position was planning on leaving regardless. Rather than attempt to hire someone for hours that are very hard to fill, Jackie came up with a solution that allowed us to cut the budget without having to let an employee go, while at the same time allowed for employees to feel safer with an earlier closing time. This may have a slight impact on programming, with some of the programming having to start a little earlier, but it should not reduce the amount of programming overall that the library offers. The second thing was movie matinee is no longer going to be offered. Jackie made the difficult decision to no longer purchase the license for the movies to be able to be shown in the library. Attendance at this program has dramatically reduced in recent years, and the licensing costs continue to go up. The village offers free movie nights during the summer, and we would like to encourage everyone to attend those. Docs and Donuts, the library's more popular movie service, will continue to be offered. The final thing I wanted to talk about was the reduced staff. There will be a reduction of staff in 2026. However, it should not impact services provided by the library. The staff at the library do a great job, and with the implementation of self-service pickup on holds, this frees up the staff at the circulation desk to assist with more patrons. The goal has been, and always will be, to make necessary cuts within the budget while attempting to minimize any disruption of services to patrons. I believe the budget that Jackie has presented the Finance Committee and this board with does an amazing job of balancing that fine line. With Jackie's leadership, this board has been able to make necessary cuts to the budget without sacrificing the exemplary service and programming that our library provides. Not only do we have the unwavering support of the Friends, we also have the support of our amazing patrons through their purchases in Latitude Cafe. As a reminder, 10% of all sales come back to the library. Had to plug that in there. The reason for this partnership is to give the library some extra income every month that's not reliant on the village board to help us fund some of the much needed updates to the library. I'm grateful for all of the members on this board for being so flexible and volunteering your time to help get the budget done. All of our collective ideas and discussions have been invaluable to this library board. I'm also grateful to be working alongside a library director who's adored by the patrons and employees, whose quick, out-of-the-box thinking allowed this board to make quick decisions when we needed to, and has risen to every challenge that was given to her. I'm grateful for the library staff who come to work every day because of their love for what they do. I'm grateful for the Friends who donate their time and money to help the library. And since we're nearing Thanksgiving, I want to reflect on this past year and give all of you my gratitude. I cannot do what I need to do without each and every one of you. This past year has brought with it some challenges, but you've all risen to the challenge and faced it head on without batting an eye. I'm looking forward to continuing working with all of you and keeping the library the best library in the area.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, so I have to make a comment. I don't know if you guys talked about some of that, because that, what you said, and versus the Facebook post I saw, just are different. And I thought the Facebook post seemed negative and actually kind of bummed me out reading it. And I'm curious, so what programs go till 9 o'clock at night, right? How many programs do we have that go till 9? 'Cause
It's not necessarily that the programs go until 9, but it's like the cleanup time and the staff cleanup time afterwards. So we do have programs that end at 8:30 or so, but in the past few months, what we've been working to do is to get patrons used to the new start times of programs, so we've pushed those back. So things such as Minecraft club, book club, certain programs like that do sometimes go until 8:30 or so, and then there's a staff cleanup afterwards so that they can be out when we close. Oftentimes we would have special speakers where we would get 80 people, and that would start at 7, and then you wouldn't be wrapped up ready to have that staff person help close the library until after 8:30. So it's really not any program where people are here finishing up at 9 p.m. It's more of the closing time and needing to get everything cleaned up, get the chairs put away, and also help with
So
the
we just
closing
need to
of
move
duties.
them up earlier.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing for
But
many.
the post didn't really say that. It said we're unfortunately probably gonna be losing some programming. And
Well-
I just don't think we need any more negativity, so however we word things moving forward, I just hope we can keep them in a positive tone, as we all have worked very hard for all of
We
this.
are going to be losing programs in the evenings because we're losing staff in the evenings. And that was part of the reason for the 8 p.m. closure, was because we're going to be having less staff working in the evenings. So where we once were able to have a children's program and an adult program the same evening, we've now shifted to, you're essentially going to have one program a night because we're having less staff working to cover the desks. So where we had 4 staff covering the 2 reference desks, we're now having 3. So what we've done is we've pivoted to have, okay, Tuesday night, you get 1 program. It's either going to be a children's program, a teen program, or an adult program, because the other staff have to work the desks. So we are going to have less programs. It's not necessarily related.
So every night we have 2 or 3 programs?
No, where we would have those programs.
But I'm
If-
just saying, I couldn't maybe, my question is, do we every night, or could the Tuesday night, instead of having 2 programs, could one of those programs go to Wednesday night? Or do we every night have multiple every night of the week, are there 2 or 3 programs?
Occasionally, yes, not every single night, but there have been
But a program
programs.
could be moved to another night?
Correct.
Okay, that's kind of my point. So we don't have to get rid of anything, we can just put them on different
It's
nights,
a
and
schedule difference.
it's a scheduling difference.
There are certain programs that we're not going to be able to have on evenings because of the amount of time that they take in order to complete the program. For instance, Minecraft Club, that takes it's a multi-hour program, so we're looking at pivoting that to, possibly weekends or something like that where we have more time.
Yeah.
So there are going to be changes.
So they couldn't start earlier because,
What time do they start now?
6:30-ish.
Okay.
So we're pushing things up. We've already gotten pushback from patrons that we're starting our programs too early at 6. So we're trying to figure out how we can best serve the community. I'm sorry that the press release came across as negative. That certainly wasn't my intention. I tried to reassure people that we support the village, but also making people aware of the reality so that we're not getting so much negative feedback as if we're intentionally trying to cut back on services or certain things. So I apologize that it came across that way. I had multiple people read it over to make sure that that wasn't coming across that way. So I don't know whether it's the article itself or the narratives that are going on around it. I don't know, but I truly apologize if it came across that way, because it most certainly was not my intention. I'm trying to move forward in a really positive manner. We're going to keep up the momentum that we've made. I ended it by saying 2026 is going to be an awesome year. So
Yeah. I mean, we did go up a lot in programs. From 23, we were at 588 to 24 to 780. So, I mean, we went up quite a bit, and I think,
well, and I guess, can we discuss this now, or is this not
We
proper?
can, probably not, but I was
Because
curious.
you kind of jumped in on yours. I did have a comment about that concern. It's a way we could address it, but I don't know if it's appropriate to do here. If we should do it in a policy or a finance committee meeting or something else. But
the programming concern?
yeah, I mean, if you yeah, right. That would be what I was going to suggest. I mean, I don't want to say it if I'm not supposed to. Because it's
commenting on what
just
you
an
said, so-
idea on how to deal with what you're mentioning is a possible restriction of programming that will occur due to our loss of hour and solutions that we might be able to come up with to provide for that once a week or once a month time where we have a group that wants to or really needs that
Yeah.
special time.
Well, and it's not just the hour, it's the reduction in staff. We've asked
Right,
staff to
exactly.
take on
And-
other responsibilities.
solutions
You know,
for
there's
that
so
too.
much there. So it's really figuring out next year what is most important in our services to the library and how can we continue as many of them as possible while also being realistic and responsible, you know?
That's a great message, yes.
Yes.
But I would think it would be fun to kind of just problem solve, troubleshoot ways that might happen. I know if I want to rent a public facility, I'm paying a cleanup fee, or I'm paying this because it takes a person to clean up after me. That's a public facility. So are those solutions that we could play around with and provide opportunities for the public if they're just so bent on, I need that extra half hour or something. I don't know. So could we put that somewhere where we can have a discussion about that in one of the committees about ways that maybe we could discuss developing programming alternatives or ways of coming up with the additional cost needed to provide a extraordinary event wish? So that was all. I wasn't.
I think we have discussed this before, and we leave the programming stuff up to the library. As far as like if we wanted to discuss charging a fee for something, that would be probably a finance committee discussion,
Well, and it's, so yeah, like if.
and then a policy
Let's say, for
discussion.
example, my child wants to work overtime at a Quick Trip. He talks to his manager, and he looks at the things, and then if they're willing, he can do the overtime. Or in our case, it would be like, well, if I am an employee here and I want to pick up a few extra, whatever the stipend is, to cover a half an hour event after my regular hours. I don't know if that's legal in overtime law or not, but I mean, these are just things to think about where people could voluntarily help provide and cover, and it would fall upon the patrons that want to use that excess service to provide the overage fees that it would cost. I don't even know if that's legal.
I
and
think
that's
we're
why I'm
talking,
not
I
sure
think
I
we're
want to bring it
talking
up
about two
anymore.
different
We're-
things.
Yeah,
talk
because
about
this
somewhere
is
else.
programming provided by the library.
Yeah.
So
Not meeting room reservations.
right, and
Yeah.
for most of this stuff, the Friends are going to be paying for it this next year.
Okay.
So I don't know that
So the
we
Minecraft
necessarily
Club
really
is actually a library club, not the Minecraft group that wants to
Correct.
use our
Correct.
facilities to have.
Correct.
Minecraft
It's a program.
facility.
Yes,
Well,
it's a
that's
program
different.
that
That's
the
different.
library
My
offers.
misunderstanding. Okay.
Yes. So it definitely engages some of the tweens and teens to come into the library, and it's a very popular program. So
All right.
I don't know what all it
Sorry,
entails
I-
as far as the cleanup and all that, but I know it's a very popular program.
Oh,
So.
I guarantee it's a popular program. I've had 5 kids. I understand.
All right, so moving on, Jackie, your
Sure.
report.
Not too much to really talk about statistics-wise. We saw the end of Hoopla in October, so expect the overall circulation to shift a little bit, including, and maybe we'll see an increase in Libby circulation. Otherwise, things are going pretty much according to plan. Not too much else to really comment on. In terms of a coffee shop update, I have been working with the owners. They're going to have some free tastings and samples again in the lobby on select days, so just to get more people excited and to see how great their coffee and treats are. I've been working with attempting to get the village engineering department to work on the patio cover concept that they have. There were many, many weeks where there was no email response. I sent about 4 to 5 emails. finally got one, but now it's a little bit late in the year to talk about patio coverings, so that's at a bit of a standstill. Essentially, Latitude was interested in purchasing plastic covers for the second floor patio so that that space could be a little bit more usable during the winter months. It sounds like, just based on timing alone, this is probably something that we're going to have to pick back up in the next year. It looks like Michael got cut out. In terms of facilities maintenance plan update, I sent some emails to the village back in June. We were waiting to hear back about the police department and how that would all coordinate with the facilities maintenance plan. I sent another email on the 5th of this month, and I haven't received a response back yet.
Any questions? All right, moving on. Village trustees report. Ann?
Biggest thing is that the budget was approved, and the other couple of real quick tidbits regarding the quarterly police report. We have 63 signed officers, but really 57 fully trained officers are available. This is one of the hardest parts with the police department. They have 3 in academy, they have 3 in like long-term military leave. So that's one of the reasons we approved 2 more, so that they could try to stay somewhat fully staffed. And there was an increase, just thought this was interesting, an 83% increase of weapon offenses. That's really all I have.
83%.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really high.
Mm-hmm.
Just people with guns in their car that should not have guns.
It's crazy. All
Felons
right.
with guns.
Citizens? Do you know if they're citizens
David
of
isn't
the
here for
village,
the school
or they're
district
not
report.
citizens?
Next we got the Friends reports.
Yeah, so the Halloween party was big. Like I said, they originally expected 40, and then there was a lot of enthusiasm, so they said maybe 90, and having 107.
Wow.
Wow.
Have enough
So-
candy?
That was really good. I think perhaps the biggest issue was the bale of hay or straw that got on the floor, and the vacuum here was not very effective at getting it out, which I think is earning a new vacuum cleaner from the Friends. They're not gonna deal with that again.
Maybe
I
some
already
cake next
talked
time.
about the things with the Capitol Drive. The other thing they're looking, I think they said before, another give back event, January, February. They've approached some companies or some businesses and gotten some great response, but no one's, at least as of that meeting, pulled the trigger and said, yeah, we'll do it. So we're still working on that. I didn't know, did you want to talk about this?
Sure, yeah. So was it last week? We presented our wish list request to the Friends for 2026. They are going to be sponsoring over $11,000 worth of things next year so far. That's just their first guarantee. So all of our programming expenses that we have in our budget, they are going to officially be covering. So every single program, other than those specialty programs that are sponsored by the Optimist Club, for instance, has put forth some money for next year, or grants, those will be sponsored by the Friends. So that's really exciting. That's awesome for them to get a lot more just knowledge in the community about their organization. And they are also going to be sponsoring a new piece of play equipment for the early literacy corner by the tree, and as Scott said, a new vacuum, an industrial vacuum for this room, which is really, really much needed and very much appreciated.
So I will say, just being involved with that group, what a phenomenal asset for this library to have dedicated volunteers like that who are putting a lot of work in, really good work, and they're so enthusiastic about it. And to see the results, like the kids, I came to the Halloween event and just seeing the kids, it was just a lot of fun. So It's a wonderful group for us to have.
When, do you know when they were founded? Or is anyone in this room
In the
have
90s,
historical
in the
knowledge?
mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
As they were planning for building this building, the Friends became incorporated.
One interesting thing from that night that they talked about was some people came and talked about becoming members. And they had the comments of, well, what do I get with my membership? And the Friends group said they kind of need to work to get people to think more like, what does the library get from my membership? So I thought that was an interesting twist and a way for them to think about how they kind of market themselves in that regard. You're giving, that's the John Kennedy, right? Ask not what the country can do for you, right?
Yep.
Anyway, very, very good feedback.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. All right, our next meeting will be Wednesday, December 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. right here in the community room. And
I can tell you right now, unfortunately, I will not be in attendance
I
for
don't know
that.
if I can either.
I unfortunately had, I guess I don't have to give you a reason. I won't be.
We don't need an excuse. You don't need a
Okay.
doctor's
It's a good
excuse.
one, but I'm not gonna.
well, let us know as early as possible so we can make sure we have quorum. Otherwise, we may have to move the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
It should be a very light agenda. I'm not anticipating any big things on December's agenda, so it should be fairly quick.
yes.
Not many things that will need votes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not budget time. It's
Right.
not-
Yeah, a little bit of a lull.
It'll be a nice one.
I could maybe coordinate, because I'll be in Louisiana.
Don't
I
worry
could
about
do
it.
that
We
if
haven't
you don't
adjourned
meet
yet.
quorum.
We
If
can
you and I
figure
don't
that
make it,
out.
they'll still have a quorum.
Yes, we are adjourned.
And I'm not